Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have yeah, a little bit of an interesting video for you guys. So last weekend I went to the regional again because of course we have a lot of regionals in the Netherlands. I went up with the gang, made my prankkid stack together with SFR and Raphael Neven. And yeah, we all went in, had a lot of fun, was a great regional. I got 11th place, so this is not the regional winning top deck profile, etc. But the reason why I did want to do it is because this deck list is basically very similar to Raphael's deck list that you all like to see on the channel. And I wanted to go into a little bit of a format discussion with that as well. So I played Prankids at the event, which is kind of resident sleeper, I know, but it is honestly just the best deck of the format right now. It is just super ignorant in what it does. Two-card combination can basically make your opponent just quit the game altogether. And yeah, this is gonna be the basically finalized Prankit deck profile. We have a 60 card version, we have a 43 card version now. We have yeah, so this is gonna be the last Prankit deck profile on the channel, guys, for a little while. Trust me. All right, so before we go into the big discussion, I'm just gonna go through the main deck and a little bit about our choices. There's some interesting cards in there, so definitely just stay tuned. And after we are done with the main extra side deck, we are gonna swap to the little bit of a discussion because I have a couple of things to say. So yeah, let's just start off with the main deck. So for this event, there were either two things we could do. We could play 60 cards and play cross out, or we could play closer to 40 cards and play a little bit more of a consistent deck, which is a complete gimmick. And that's completely not how it works in Yu-Gi-Oh! Nowadays. The number of cards you play in your deck is just completely arbitrary. You can do whatever you want. You want to play 40, you want to play 60, you want to play 53, you can do whatever. It doesn't matter. You can just play whatever you want. I remember back in my day when you played more than 40 cards, you were basically nailed to a cross and burned alive because that just wasn't, that you just couldn't do that. But nowadays it's all like you can do whatever you want. So we ended up on 43 cards in the main deck, and yeah, it worked. The good thing about 60 is you can run multiple good cards and basically never see doubles. The bad thing about that is that it's a little bit more inconsistent. The good thing about 43 cards is it is more consistent, but the bad thing is you're gonna see cards you do not want to see. So to get to a smaller amount, we have a very small Prankits lineup. We have 2, 2, 2, and 2. The Roxys. You can even cut one of this, but I would not recommend that because you're already not playing that many names. Play triple Enchantress, and Griffin, of course, and then the famous Destiny Heroes. Yeah, this is basically every deck in the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now. I don't want to be too negative, but it's super hard not to be too negative if this is the format. But that's okay. We play the Illusion. Me and Raphael really liked Souls in the deck, SFR didn't. This is one of the very few extenders you have. This is one of the very few cards you can outplay your opponent with by extending into something else, or into a Verte, or into a Dark. It came up for me a lot, especially when you can send a field spell and the Faithful to draw extra cards, maybe draw into Fusion Destiny, or just make Verte after that. Just really, really solid. And for that traps, we played Nip, we played Ash, we played Ogre. I played this card, which in retrospect, they should just have been imperm. I'm not really sure why I didn't think of that, but they should have been imperm, but it's still good. Then triple plays, Polymonium 1 pranks. This is basically all the cards that you do not want to see. Double Fusion Destiny, because it is that too. Rights, this, and then the fourth Enchantress. This has been the main deck, usually. Yeah, this really worked. My entire tournament was pretty okay. I went 5-2. I'll go into the matches a little bit later and discuss what happened in there. One Meow Meow Mew, double Doodle Doo. What you're gonna see is just like the main deck, we are gonna have a very small bracket lineup. One Bow Bark, one Linkaribo, double Link Spider in case you get nipped, which does come up a lot. It's kind of weird running all these, but you know, we are coping with the fact that this is at one, so we have to play multiple other link ones. Play Dark, double Verte, which comes up, which is really funny, because usually if your plays get disrupted a little bit, you summon this, it gets Nibiru'd a lot of the times, or it gets removed from the field, and then you summon another, and they're like, "Oh, you play 2 imperm? Why would you do that?" And I'm like, because of this situation, which happened twice at this regional, completely validating our choices. No, all jokes aside, this is really good to play at 2 in this deck, especially to just force out a Vader and then just combo on, because that's what happens a lot of the time. You go second, you start off with your Brave Engine, it gets disrupted by an Ogre, you summon your souls, you make this gets disrupted, then you normal summon a Prankkid, and then it's really nice to have a follow-up Verte the next turn to get the DPE live anyway. You play 1 Unicorn, 1 Access card. Only Weather Washer, we do not play Rocket Ride, because it just doesn't come up. We also do not play Instant Fusion. It's just a 1-up, takes a lot of space. We do play the Battle Butler, of course, and then the DPE for the 15th card. Yeah, just opting to go a little bit more like utility-wise, and that really was nice. The deck really performed well for me personally. For the side deck, this for the back row removal, just good. Then I'll skip this for the last. Triple Token Collector, Triple Troll. We really wanted to play extra hand traps in the side deck, but we wanted to have cards that we could draw into with Phantasme. Now, Phantasme is a really, really sick card in this format that people often overlook a little bit. What this does is basically it makes your hand, especially in 60 cards or in 43 cards even, a lot better when going second. When playing against deck like Prankkids, like Dragon Link, like Sky Striker, you can just pop this down, draw additional cards. Now, it's always nice to resolve Phantasme, because most of the time, everyone will just like, it either trades, like either they Ash, so they go -1, or they negate it with a Griffin, which is kind of a weird thing to do, and then they go -1. So this card just always trades, and if it doesn't, it's a +1 that sticks on the field and has targeting protection, which can come up against, for example, a Yazi, which is really, really good, and it also is very nice against the Brave Tingy Pile decks that run the Blackout, which is also just really nice. And the only thing that's not so good with this is if they do the Brave combo and then they start Link summoning, you summon Phantasme and then you draw Ghost Ogre. Obviously the Ogre is too late. But if you look at the rest of the hand traps, for example, the Vaders or the Ghost Ogre, or the Ashes or the Nips, or after siding the Token Collectors and the Trolls, they are basically always nice to draw after Phantasme, the Token Collectors, especially in case of an Aurora Dawn. So that was kind of the theory behind this. It's just a good +1, which is just sick. Yeah, I really like this card. I cited it a couple of times. It was actually kind of nice. So that's it for the deck profile. Now to go into a little bit more of a discussion. So my round 1 opponent was playing Life Twins, which was honestly kind of easy together with Phantasme. The deck just really works out well. The combination of a Rights plus a Prankkid is just almost impossible to beat, except with 3 hand traps. Game 1 he had like 1 hand trap, game 2 had like 2 hand traps, so it's just so easy to play through that stuff. It's just very, very nice. Then I'm gonna quickly take a look at the rest of the matchups. There you go. Round 2 I played against Denji Lusterpile, which was just a pile deck. I won game 1 after he went first. I hand trapped him 3 times, normal summoned a Prankkid, and that Rights. It's just a deck's so good. It's unbelievable. And game 2, he didn't side in his Token Collector, so when he crossed out Token Collector, he didn't have it. So my Token Collector resolved, and he lost the game after that. Round 3, I played a mirror match, which is the worst with this deck. Mirror matches with the Prankkid deck are the worst, especially because you just... Normally you play a deck like the Tenji Pal or like all the other Pal decks, you just have like extenders and extenders and extenders. But this deck doesn't have extenders. You have your normal summon, you have your souls, you have your brave, and that's it. So what often happens is your brave stuff gets hand trapped, then your Prankkid gets popped by a DPE, and that's it. That's all you realistically could have done. Hope you hard through Fusion Destiny, but that will probably get dashed. So yeah, he of course won the Darrow. Game 1 I played through his stuff. Game 2 my hand was very bad going first, and he had 3 hand traps, so that was kind of nice. And game 3 I saw 0 hand traps again, so I just normaled the Prankkid, he popped, and it's just not a lot that I could do with this deck, which is just unfortunate, because I do think that this is like a very solid either it is the best deck of the format right now, because it's just so dumb how much you can get out of one card, and with the Brave Engine as well. or it is the second best, but it's just kind of insane that the going second of this deck is just so bad, which is also one of the big reasons why we wanted to play Tatsym, to make it a little bit better, because the only thing you can do is hope that you have enough hand traps to deal with your opponent's board, and then normal summon a prankkid. But usually it just doesn't happen like that, or you don't even have a prankkid. So that was kind of annoying. Round 4 played against Dragon Brave again. Was a fun match, but just 2-0'd him because he wasn't really that familiar with prankkids, which is kind of weird that people are not familiar with prankkids, but I guess that it is what it is. Round 5 played against Altergeist. Game 1 I opened 0 prankkids. I only opened Brave Engine, but he shifted me, and then I was like, oh no, this is Flow Under, I don't have any tools, I can't deal with this. Then he proceeded to set 3 cards, summon out thingy, and pass. But he didn't know that if you striked the summon of a prankkid, the prankkid doesn't resolve in the grave. So I just comboed, and then I summoned Unicorn, and he striked that, and I was like, oh, okay, must be nice playing at a Dutch regional. So game 2 went pretty similar to that. Round 6 I played against Flow Wonder. Shout out to Kevin, my boy. He didn't see Shifter. Good for me. Very nice, very solid. It was a fun match. And round 7, in the last round, I played against Tenji Pao. Shout out to Jeroen, who played the same deck as Raphael and Some played. And yeah, game 1 I clapped him. He went first, but I had enough hand traps. Game 2, I couldn't play through his field. And game 3 I opened Celestial Dasher Token Collector Ash Vader, which wasn't enough to survive. So after that, we got 11th after Swiss with an X2 record, unfortunately. Yeah, I did learn a lot about the format, because on the previous regionals I played either Dragon Link Brave or I played Sword Soul, and now playing something entirely different really gave me a couple of new insights about the meta. So first of all, everyone on regionals at least just plays like the good decks, but what I've really noticed is that nobody actually knows what to do. I always had the mentality that, like, at a YCS, there's like 2,000 people, right? And there's only going to be, I think I'll be giving it a lot to say that there will only be 20, like, really good players there. The rest is like, and then it drops off immediately. But especially from my experiences, like, for example, I don't want to, like, trash talk the guy, but, like, I literally normal summoned a prankkid, paid Meow Mew, went into the entire combo, then made Bow Wow Bark. Then with a negated Verte and a kit, I went into Nightmare Unicorn, and then he striked. It's like one of the examples of like what happened. It happened multiple times during the tournament that I would have just auto lost if my opponent did X, but he always chose to do Y, or like extremely late, or at extremely weird timing. I had multiple turns just being given to me. Like the guy that didn't cross out my token collector because he didn't sign it in. Like, that game was already over. I was literally just playing to see what he could do to go into game 3 and start off myself. But like, we had so much time on the clock, so I was like, I'll just see how he goes for game, kind of see how he plays. But it kind of just snowballed into me winning anyway, which is really thanks to the fact that, like, one of these cards, one of the prankkids, or just one of the rights is just so much advantage. It's just insane to think that you have to play a deck that gets so much done out of so little cards, and it's that really makes it into such a weird format. It's almost impossible to go second and, like, board break your opponent unless you have, like, very hard and big tools to do that. Otherwise, you just have to hand trap your opponent. But what usually happened with, like, for example, this deck is I activate Enchantress, I summon a, I summon a, I activate Rites of Razimir, I summon a Prankkid, they ghost over my field spell, or my Fateful, then, like, that's okay. After that, I just go Prankkid combo, they Nibiru, that's okay. Then I summon Souls, I make Verte, and then the Verte resolves, and I have DPE. They lost 2 cards, and I can just easily play through their field, which is just basically what happened the entirety of the time, and also what happened against my opponents. Like, they would normal summon something, activate Rites, I would Ogre, they would make Hulk of Firebricks, I would Ash, and after that they would just, like, Fusion Destiny, and doesn't really matter at that point what deck you play. I do think that this deck is really good. And I do really like the way that we approach this deck with, like, a smaller amount of prankkits and more amount of utility cards. But it it was definitely kind of weird. I don't feel like I made any technical play errors against my losses. Like obviously the last round, opening 2 of the Destiny Heroes just really sucks and it's really unlikely, but it can happen and it's just unfortunate it happened in that round. But especially like the prankkid's mirror, like I wasn't outplayed. The options that this deck has are just very limited, which is one of the worst things about this deck is it's just not that versatile, which is kind of surprising because you would say that there are a lot of options you can go, a lot of things you can do, a lot of ways you can outplay your opponent, but it's all just very standard. It's literally so straightforward. Just do you have rights? No. Okay, then summon prank it. Does it resolve? Yes or no? Okay. If it doesn't resolve, try to make a verte. That doesn't work. Okay, you pass. And that's basically just everything that happened at the tournament. It was a lot of fun. Shout out to Epic Play. It was one of the better regionals that I have attended. It was just so nice. They had very cheap food and very cheap drinks. It was so nice. And I had a lot of fun with the guys, a lot of fun with the people. Dutch community is always the best. And yeah, thanks to the travel guys, etc. And big congrats to Jeroen for getting fourth place after kicking me out. And of course to Raphael for breaking the curse of becoming fifth by becoming sixth. And big shout out to Quantal Think for getting second place. And overall, it was a lot of fun. Format's just kind of in such a weird place now where, and I just personally don't like it. I never really cared about the you have to play 40 cards rule. Especially now, it just feels like I'm missing that or something. It's just kind of in a weird spot, Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now. So definitely let me know in the comment section down below what you think of the format. And are you still in love with it? Do you like it? Or are you just already sick and tired of it? Because I heard a lot of people yesterday really didn't like the format. But then again, I also heard a lot of people that kind of did. So yeah, are you profiting of this format by playing prank kits, or are you just doing something completely different? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys in the next one.